All right, let's try that again. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Droppin Knowledge and Noah. We are on part 2 of the in-depth AI in the dealership series. So to begin with, we did a kind of an AI overview of how you can use AI across every aspect of the dealership. But then I thought, let's dig a little bit deeper and do a more in-depth review across each of your departments. So we started with AI in marketing. So using AI to, filter down to audiences of people who are interested in what you have to sell, targeting them effectively and delivering ads to them and getting them to your website, personalizing the experience, and really kind of creating, see if we can focus here. Come on, buddy, focus. There we go. Creating what I like to call a greased slide to conversion. So that's picking up the phone, filling out a form, or starting their deal online. Now what we're going to be doing is really talking about how AI can be used on the sales floor. So empowering your salespeople to respond more quickly or to fill in the gaps. So using AI to respond to shoppers who reached out maybe after hours or during busy times, getting that quick response. Empowering salespeople with more information about that shopper, like their propensity to buy, how likely they are to lease or finance, what their trade-in is, etc. And using AI to enhance the desking process. So eliminating the back and forth, giving you more information on how you can discount your vehicle or what you should be appraising a trade-in for, and also giving insight into what kind of payments you can be offering that shopper. So let's jump into it here and educate you folks. So let's talk about some stats to kind of lay the foundation. 81% of dealers in our recent study, the AI readiness study that was happening in 2025, 81% of dealers say AI is here to stay. I'd be really curious to hear from those 19% of dealers who said that it is a fad. I'd really be interested to see what their perspective is. 60% of dealers are testing AI in some aspect of their processes or their day-to-day, but only 15% have really embedded it into a critical system at the dealership. And right now, on average, the buyer journey from research online to driving off the lot with that vehicle is 13 and a half hours. Now, let's focus on the first kind of aspect of using AI in the sales process, and we're going to talk about the lead, right? You got the lead into your CRM. Now we got to do something with it. And really the key thing here is time for response or time to respond. If we can respond quickly, the likelihood that that's going to turn into a quality sales conversation rises dramatically. So back in 2011, I'm going to highlight this right here, MIT/Harvard Business Review, they did a study called The Short Life of Online Sales Leads. Back in 2011, they found that if you respond to an inbound lead, now this is across e-commerce, across the board, not just dealerships, right? But if you're able to respond to that lead in under 5 minutes versus their 30-minute average, their likelihood to qualify that lead, so have a real sales conversation with that shopper, increases by 21x. So that's huge. That's like a thing where we got to say, we can increase the likelihood of something good happening at the dealership by 21 times. Maybe we should do it. And, that's going to cover a lot of things like your after hours leads that are coming in, phone tag or generic replies. Like the last thing we want to do is, not have people available or also just send like a kind of a crappy autoresponder. So what can you do? Well, cover your bases with AI. Like we're talking chatbot, a virtual assistant, virtual contact assistant inside of your CRM, agents, right? So the other thing too is it doesn't have to be AI. There are some great companies out there that have 24/7 chat coverage with real people and can kind of do things a little bit better than an AI chatbot in some ways. AI chat does better in other ways, but you want to make sure you have that 24/7 coverage for inbound requests because we want to get back to them quickly, ask the right questions, and schedule that appointment, right? We still want to book that appointment. We want to do it the right way. Now, we actually did a study with shoppers on whether or not they liked, working with an AI chatbot. 57% of buyers said that the AI chatbot improved their dealership experience. So it answered their questions, helped them compare vehicles, maybe even took some action for them. So that was good. Now, where we're moving in the space is going away from just generalized chatbots, which can answer questions, help you get a little bit more information on a vehicle, to an agent, which can do that, right? Answer questions one task at a time, but then it can actually do some execution for you. So what are we talking about here? Like booking a test drive or booking an appointment at the dealership, scheduling a service appointment for you, tagging in a sales associate. So creating a task for that sales associate to follow up when they get into the office, and even follow up on lost leads. This is really cool. So maybe you've got a salesperson who marked a lead as lost. Well, if you've got your AI agent in there, they can look at all those lost leads and start reaching out to them, especially if you're able to track that shopper's behavior across your listing site, research site, or your actual website, showing that they're still interested in a car. So sending them one-to-one messaging or marketing. So, offers via text message or email or even direct mail to get them back into that conversation loop with your dealership and maybe into the dealership to buy that next car, right? Saving everybody time and probably doing a better job of it. All right, so we answered the lead. We got that person the info they need. We worked the appointment. We got them into the showroom, or maybe we got them to commit to coming into the showroom. Now we need to think about how we can improve that in-store process for that shopper, and we're going to use AI and technology to improve it. So let's check it out. Number one is, baseline. This is pretty crazy here. 97% of dealers say customers repeat steps once they're in the store. Now, I'm a huge process improvement person. I studied it in business school. Huge fan of Toyota and what their Kaizen processes are. I love Lean. I love Six Sigma. But repeating steps is one of what we call the 7 deadly wastes. So you're not adding value to the process, and you're also introducing additional opportunities to mess things up, right? If you're submitting information twice, maybe some of that information is incorrect, or you're wasting time, which leads to customer dissatisfaction. So a lot of times, right, somebody will start their deal online through your website, digital retailing. They come in, and then the salesperson asks them questions that were easily answered if they just looked at the lead. Like, hey, what do you want your payment to be? How much are you putting down? And what do you have for a trade-in? That person started online with their digital retailing tool. It's already there. So you are actually creating a bad experience for that shopper and really slowing down everything. So here's what you can do. Well, actually, let me go back here. Talk about that in a second. Train your people on how to pull up deals in the store. We'll actually go into that a little bit more detail. So make sure that if somebody does submit their deal online, you recognize that as a digital retailing lead or deal, because that really was what it is. It's a deal. Read the deal, confirm what that person submitted, and then pick up where they left off. And we're going to dive into that a little bit more down the road. The other thing too is using AI to build a customer profile for that shopper. So if somebody's online, which most everybody is when they're researching a vehicle, right? That's where everybody goes, Google, Auto Trader, Kelley Blue Book, or your website, right? They're putting off data signals, right? What vehicles are they looking at? What payments are they penciling out? How much time are they spending looking at photos? What actions are they taking? Are they submitting deals or submitting leads? Now, CDPs are able to basically take some of that data and create that customer profile for you so they can show you how likely that shopper is to buy, what vehicle they're interested in, what budget they have, like what their max budget is, and what kind of trade-in they have and how likely they are to trade in that vehicle. So what that is using AI to digest that information and create that customer profile. So when that salesperson has that shopper in the store or is working with that shopper remotely, they know all this additional information about that shopper. They can better personalize the experience for them. So maybe they're interested in the top trim Camry, right? They submitted the lead for it, but down the road, you find out they can't actually make the payment on that. But you saw that they were looking at like a LE trim, which is the base trim. You can get that as their switch car. So having a little bit more information on that shopper using AI to digest all of that makes it so you can provide a better experience for that shopper, right? Knowledge is power. Now, the other thing too is picking up where they left off. So I was talking about that before. 97% of dealers say that customers are repeating steps in the store, right? They're submitting their credit app, but then they come into the store and the salesperson asks them to fill it out again because they didn't read the deal. They're asking them what their payment might be or what they want their payment to be, what their down payment might be, or whether or not that we want to trade in that vehicle. Instead, we're training our folks to look at those deals that are coming in, familiarize themselves with that, and pick up where that shopper left off. Now, if we can get more people into the digital retailing experience, that also means that they're more likely to buy the car, pay more for the car, save time doing it, and be happier with the overall process. So if we can get people to be a mostly digital shopper, so they do most of the steps online, we're saving on average about 45 minutes per deal. The other thing too is, if you just have the DR tool on your site, great. Step one. The other thing that we want to be doing is making sure that everybody gets into that digital retailing experience. So even if they pick up the phone and call you and ask, hey, is this car available? Or they fill out a separate form. So, check availability or a test drive form. Our salespeople should be comfortable spinning up a deal inside of the digital retailing tool and sending a link to it in their response. Getting that person engaged, because if we can get them engaged, once again, they're saving time, they're more likely to buy the car, pay more for it, and be happier with that process. So they're more likely to come back and buy that next car from you. So now we've got that shopper in the store. We picked up the deal where they left off. We want to get rid of that Wizard of Oz feeling. So that's where kind of that in-store digitized retailing tool really comes into play. So rather than, penciling out that deal, picking it up or whatever and saying, all right, hey, I'm going to take this and walk over to my sales manager and show it to him, have him work the deal for you. Instead, sending it right to that sales manager with his digitized desking tool. While you're waiting, that salesperson can, strike up a conversation about accessories or take that shopper over to the service department and introduce that shopper to a service advisor or, show them some F&I products in the digital retailing tool. That allows you to have more control over the process, right? Keeps that shopper from surfing the web for other vehicles at other dealerships and creates a better experience. They can sell on the value of doing business at the dealership. They have additional time with that shopper and it's more transparent, right? We've got the deal on the tablet and the numbers are visible. And if that shopper's like, hey, you know what? I want to hit $250 a month or whatever, you can plug that in, send it to this desk manager and they can roll that payment. Hey, you know what? We need to get an extra $3,000 down, or we can show you a better rate from this different lender, whatever, but it's all transparent. And here's the thing too, for the dealers that are investing in this kind of technology, they feel like they're in more control of the process, right? That's what they're telling us, which is interesting because a lot of times for the dealers that don't have it, they're like, ooh, I don't want to give up that control. So dealers who are using it feel like they're in more control of the process. Customers feel like they're in more control of the process. It's faster and we're helping sell for more money per car. Now, before I go into this right here, I'm going to go back. Big shout out to SoduCon. They had Steve Greenfield of Greenfield Associates. Really great presentation. And he called out there is a salesperson at a Mazda dealership. And shame on me, I don't have his name. This guy sells on average between 60 and 70 Mazdas a month. Okay, and the average salesperson, right, 10 to 15 units a month. So this guy's 6xing, 7xing the average. And what he does, right, this is what he said. He's like, if that person has already, locked in on a car, they've already chosen the car before they come in. When I do get them into the store, they're in and out usually within 10 minutes. And I'm going to make a big assumption here, but it's a educated guess. But he's using digital retailing. So he's having that person fill out their credit application, figure out their payment, put in their trade-in info, all of that great stuff. So when they do come in, he's just picking it up and getting it over the finish line a lot faster. He's dialed in his process so that person's in and out in 10 minutes. Another way of kind of thinking about this, let me actually go to a different view so you guys could see me here. I used to work at a restaurant, right? I was a waiter. And if I wanted to make money, I wanted to turn tables quickly, right? Get the order, get them the food, show them a good time, maybe upsell them on a couple of things, but get them out the door so that that next table could come in, right? And especially as an owner of a restaurant, the more tables you can get through, the more throughput means the more money that you're making. And you can increase your throughput by, getting more leads, right? If you've got really good marketing, that's awesome. You can get more leads and get more people, but you only have so much capacity to run them through the dealership and sell the car, right? But if you can improve your deal capacity by making it faster, more efficient, all of a sudden that quantity of leads that you're getting in on a Saturday, instead of selling, I don't know, 15 cars, you're bumping it up to 45 because you've got a faster process overall. So that's what I'm talking about here. You can increase your throughput. And if you do that, happier customers who want to come back and buy their next car from you. Okay, let's go back and check out this next slide here. Desk managers. There's a lot of AI tools out there that desk managers are utilizing, top performers out there, to really make themselves more effective. Number one, dynamic pricing, right? So using AI to digest all of this pricing information that's out there in the market to provide you market-based recommendations, vehicle by vehicle. Hey, you bought this car for this much, which was maybe 5% above the market rate. Here's how much you should sell it for in comparison to everybody else out there, and you can make this much money. Or this is how much you can discount this car after this much time at the dealership, or based on this much, or what kind of demand is out there. And that goes right into trade intelligence, right? So when you're running an appraisal on a vehicle, you can see what people are buying those vehicles for and what they're being sold for, and also see if that fits into your inventory plan for your particular dealership, right? It might not make sense for you to buy an Audi R8 from somebody if you're a rural GMC dealer. Or, well, it might make, you definitely want to buy the car, but probably not wanting to stock it, right? You can send it off to auction, for example. But getting that real-time wholesale and retail data on those vehicles so you can appraise them effectively, and also pull in your recon pricing to make sure that you're getting the right appraisal number out there for that trade-in. Because pricing the vehicle is really important. You make more money on buying the vehicle and getting the right price when you buy that vehicle. The other thing too is, new technologies around F&I. So using AI to look at that F profile and your approvals back to identify, hey, what lender actually is going to help you generate the most profit for that deal, and easily compare them side by side. Also show you, how much additional products you can sell with that deal. So, your extended warranty or accessories, or what kind of rate you can offer that shopper based on the buy rate that's there. So easily digesting all of that data and giving you information so you can make a better decision on what lender you want to work with for this particular deal. And then finally, the deal structure. So what that is talking about is digesting all of the actions that person has done inside of the digital retailing tool, and giving you ranges for what their payment is, like what they're comfortable with. So they went from $250 all the way up to $650 for their payment, what their down payment might be, what they're comfortable with there. So they went from $3,000 all the way up to $9,000, what they're willing to offer for the vehicle. So between $40,000 and $50,000, and what their trade-in is. Now, you as a sales manager, you pretend you're playing poker with that shopper. You can see their hand and more effectively, change your numbers to be within their ranges. So you can see, all right, this guy is willing to give up to, $2,000 extra, and he's wanting his payment to be $250. So I can make that offer back to him when I'm trying to hit that payment, and he's not going to balk at it. The other thing too is showing, switch vehicles that could maybe give you a little bit more profitability, and show you how likely that person would be to kind of accept that deal. So really what AI is doing on the desking manager side of the business is giving them better information to make better decisions, and also streamlining their process, like, taking that digitized deal and working it and sending it back. Now, the other thing too, right? This is another thing I got to highlight, and I'm going to keep hammering it, is like, if you can get more people into that digitized retailing experience, and you've got that digitized desking tool, that means you can see that information earlier, right? The earlier you can get them into the digital retailing experience, the more likely they're going to put their information in and explore payments and all that stuff. And the sooner you can see what they're doing, so you can make a better decision and be a more effective, more profitable desk manager. All right, now let's talk about your high performers. So you're watching the previous video. We call them thrivers. These are dealerships who are more efficient and more profitable than their peers. So they're seeing, 2 to 3 times higher close rates on digitized deals. And those thrivers, when they're using AI, 67% of them saw an improvement in their gross profit per deal. So they're being more efficient, and 80% of them saw a positive impact on their sales volume. Now, the data's out there. The same studies are out there. The tools are out there. They're just making different choices. They're taking a step back and really taking a close look at their processes and figuring out, okay, how can I use AI to make these incremental improvements and continually improve? So maybe I start making these improvements at the beginning of the year, but if I keep on this path, the end of the year after 365 days, 30% more profitable, 40% more profitable. I'm getting more ROs because I'm introducing more people to my sales or my service department, right? They're not always smarter, but they're paying more attention to the data. And they are taking a step back and willing to make changes at the dealership to, kind of adopt or adapt to this kind of dynamic time. Things are changing really quickly. And if we're holding on to old processes, the dealerships that are willing to make changes and be kind of daring and think of new ways to do things are going to be the winners in this space. So what are the 5 key takeaways? All right, number 1, we want to figure out a way to respond to every inbound in under 5 minutes. Phone call, form lead, text message, chat. You use that using a virtual contact assistant, virtual assistant, a chatbot on your website, or 24/7 chat, manned by a person. You want to make sure that we are getting a personalized quality response to that shopper in under 5 minutes, because if we can do that, likelihood you're having a qualified sales conversation increases by 21 times. So talk about ROI. Like, you can have a quality conversation if you can strike while the iron is still hot. We want to send a personalized deal link. We don't want to say, hey, if you want pricing, you got to come into the dealership. 2 reasons why. We can get them into the digital retailing experience, more likely to buy the car, pay more for the car, be happier doing it, and have a faster process. The other thing too is we're seeing the usage of AI agents on the shopper side of things. They are mystery shopping dealerships, or they're shopping dealerships all over the country. They're asking for out the door prices. They're asking for links to digital deals. And if you're not providing that information to them, they're going to say, hey, this dealership is not worth working with because they won't provide the information you need. So you're kind of handicapping yourself right there. If you're still hanging on to, well, if you want to see a price, you want an out the door price, you got to come in. Nope, you're going to get skipped over. We want to train our sales team to pick up the deal, not restart it. We want to cut down that 97% of shoppers resupplying information, maybe cut it down to 50% if we can do it. Easy, right? Train your salespeople on how to look at those digital retailing deals, pick them up where they left off, and complete it in the store. Or send them that personalized deal link, however they want to come in. Add an AI desking layer to that deal flow. Digitized retailing really is the wave of the future. Your top performing, thriving dealerships are going to be the ones who are doing this. It's faster, it's more transparent, you have more control, and you're making more money on the deals. And the other thing too is kill that let me check with my manager walk. Keep that salesperson with that shopper using an AI digitized tool so they can control that process, and introduce them to the service department, introduce them to the parts department to get some cool accessories, show some F&I products, or introduce them to the F&I manager and talk about that while they're waiting. Those are ways that you can utilize AI to take your dealership to that next level. So thank you once again for watching. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to check this out. Hopefully you learned something. If you could do it for me, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment right there. And stay tuned. Next video, we are going to dive into service and how you can use AI to increase the number of ROs, increase the how much those ROs are for, increase your returning customers and their satisfaction overall, and turn that service department into a lead generation machine and an acquisition generation machine for your sales team. So thanks again, everybody. Stay tuned for more Droppin Knowledge with Noah. Have a good one.